everyone, I'm Melissa Crowe.
And I'm Mike Crowe.
And we're the founders of Mitten Getaways Glamping Company. Thanks for tuning into our podcast, The Mitten Minute. I can never say that right. Produced by Woodall's Campground Magazine and sponsored by Outdoor Alliances, which provides digital marketing services to campground, RV parks, and glamping properties. Today we're on site at the Fields of Michigan, outside the tent we stayed in last night. More about our glamping experience here later in the show. It's been great.
Yeah, it has. Our show is all about our journey to open a glamping resort in eastern Michigan, the other side of the state, and focuses on the planning, development, and guest experience that goes along with it.
We'll focus on the planning again in today's show, and we'll talk about what resonated with us here at the Fields and what new inspiration it inspired. As always, we have to make sure everyone knows what glamping is. Mike, what is glamping?
Glamping is arriving at your glamping resort and immediately being greeted by name along with a congratulatory happy anniversary, which was our experience here. But seriously, glamping is glamorous camping.
And for Mitten Getaways, we call our version of glamping Michiglamping. A variety of glamping accommodations set up with space between them and available year-round on a secluded resort with plenty to do.
Mm-hmm. Our last episode was based on our stay at Off Map Glamping, also in South Haven, Michigan. Today we're going to talk about our stay at the Fields of Michigan, where we actually have one more night to stay.
We had a great stay at Off Map, and our stay so far at the Fields has been amazing. But we don't really want this to be a review. Instead, we're trying to compare and contrast the Fields with our vision of what Mitten Getaways should be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's first start with how the resorts are similar, and then Mike, how would you say Off Map and the Fields are similar?
Yeah, at a high level, obviously the location, both in South Haven, so they both have that great resource of downtown and the West Michigan Lakeshore to go to. And then the resort properties are similar in that they're both fairly secluded, both deep lots off of rural roads, so not a lot of traffic going by and not really any neighbors in sight at both properties. And then both the Fields and Off Map have canvas tents, wall tents. They operate seasonally. They have amenities like real beds, fans, electricity, full baths, albeit some of Off Map's tents were off the grid, kind of without electricity or plumbing, but thankfully we didn't try one of those out. But yeah, those are some of the kind of high level similarities between the two. We won't spend too much time talking about those, but we will talk about what stood out to us at the Fields. So, Melissa, what was your favorite part of staying here at the Fields so far?
So far, it's picking the fresh blueberries. She lets you pick however many you want. So I'm going to take some home and make my first blueberry pie. And also just meeting the owner. She's been wonderful, and you can tell a lot of the attention to details is her. So it's just, you can tell that she cares for what she does here and has a passion for it. So I liked that part.
Yeah.
It was very personable.
Yep, I definitely ate a lot of blueberries. I think
so many blueberries.
I might have had a blue tent to me. The Willy Wonka movie comes to mind.
You were no help to me at all.
No, none of mine went in the bag. But thankfully she's good at picking blueberries. As far as what stood out, let's talk about the tents or the accommodations. What stood out to you about the tents, like the one behind us that we stayed in?
It was large. Yeah. It was very large, and the bathroom was a lot bigger, which was nice.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be this big. So.
Yeah, it's not just more square footage, but taller ceilings too. It's higher.
It's huge. It's like
ceiling.
I just wasn't expecting that.
It made it feel a lot roomier inside, and it was good. Kind of resonated with us for some of the larger structures or accommodations that we want to have on our resort. A little more square footage, a little more room to move around in.
Mm-hmm. We've stayed in places, not even tents, but just like the winery we stayed at and stuff that were super small and slim. And it was a nice experience, but it's just better to feel like you have room, obviously.
Yeah. Let's see. Here at the Fields, one thing that was unique, compared to off map was they had air conditioners, which could be helpful. Fortunately, another thing about their tents, a lot of them are put in between trees and cut out into the woods, so you have a lot of shade here. So we really didn't need our air conditioner, even though it was pretty warm days in the 80s.
Yeah, and that's what we want with ours, is we want tree coverage. We want it to be in the woods and not just plopped in the middle of a field or something. We've always had the dream of having it like in a woods with lots of dense privacy.
Yep, and we are outside, so our listeners on the radio or on the app, forgive the airplanes going by, but I mean the not only kind of notching them into the woods that we want to do resonated with us here at the fields, but also the spacing. It kind of helped us being on a real active glamping resort and seeing where the tents were and how you could hear the guests or not hear them helped us kind of confirm where we would space out our sites and like how many actual feet we needed to put in between them to give that privacy that we wanted to offer. The other thing that stood out to us was the decision at the fields to have individual campfires at each site. That was one thing that off-map chose not to do, and it's probably something we're leaning to doing, is having individual campfires. It was nice to sit out at our own site and
that more privacy.
Yeah, and toast s'mores at it. It's nice to get together in a community and have that option, and I think the fields does that with some of their activities up towards the front of the resort, but it's also nice to celebrate together, just you and your party. What about the on-site experience here, Melissa? What stood out to you about that?
Well, the dinner was amazing.
She, not to cut you off, but
you're fine.
That's one thing that they invest a lot in, is the food here, I think, as part of their experience. In fact, like early before you actually show up, they send you an email weeks in advance to give you an option to book a reservation to have dinner. And when do they do dinner here? Like
I think Sunday. I think they do it 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's like Sundays, Tuesdays, and Fridays or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's set up outside. It was beautiful out last night. So it was a 4-course meal brought out to you, and it was wonderful. It was a nice experience, and I love that. I love that uniqueness to it.
Yeah, and you get to sit with other people that are staying here, and that's kind of the community aspect, I think, is.
And my husband knows me. I don't like doing that stuff, but it was fun.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of food, we had a great breakfast this morning. Unexpectedly, not continental, I would say.
Yeah, that was really good.
We didn't know that, but the same chef that prepared our dinner made us sausage links and French toast and pie. We had pie for breakfast.
That was really good.
Blueberry, of course, right? I mean, it had to be blueberry here on a blueberry farm, but that was a good start to my day. If I can have dessert first thing in the morning, it's going to be a good day. And I mean, just the food aspect helped us to give some consideration to the importance of eventually having food service at our resort too. It's just a nice thing to build in.
It's probably not going to be anything like what she has here.
No,
I mean, you can tell she's put a lot of thought and dedication into it. But I mean, even if it was like a breakfast, I would personally love just a breakfast where we stay. Just getting that one meal out of the way and not having to rush off.
Yeah, that is nice.
Awesome.
And I mean, to that line of thinking, the checking off of the boxes of what you're going to do throughout the day. It's nice to have a lot of activities to offer, and the Fields has a good amount of them. One of the things they do, as you hear one of their ATVs go by, is they give rides to the guests from the parking lot to get back to their resort, bring their luggage back, which I don't think is uncommon on glamping resorts, but it was really well orchestrated, where we had a sign, call this number, somebody answered. Like I said in the beginning of the show, they answer by name to you and come and get you within just a minute or two.
Yeah.
So we'll let them roll by and continue on with the show here. a few of the other things that we thought about as we stayed here at the fields were all the different things to do. We've always said that we wanted to have a lot of activities here, activities to do at our resort, and the just seeing all the things that the fields offers, the bike rentals, massages, sailboat excursion that we're excited to go on this evening, and blueberry picking, just helped us to kind of refine our thinking on what we want to do. We want to have a balance of having a lot of things for guests to do, and not necessarily nickel and diming them for the things that for those activities, like charging them, but having it built into the resort, which is not what the fields does, but it's something that we've been playing with in our minds, how we set up those activities on our resort.
Yeah, it's awesome. They have, like, I think you just said this, but like the bike rentals, and that's just a lot of people don't have bikes or don't want to bring their bikes, or don't have cars that can bring their bikes. So it's awesome. They can just get them here.
Yeah. Yep. And this is one other thing that stood out to us here that we really liked, and seems like such a small detail, but you probably can't see it in the video, but all the clearing around here, the walking spaces, wide open trails are covered in mulch. That was the choice by the owner here, was to go with mulch, and we like it because it's quiet. You pointed that out.
Yeah, it's quiet when people walk by. You don't even know they're walking by. Because we were thinking, would we do stone sometime? Would we do, what we just barely thought about it, poked around on that. Yeah. And I was thinking we'd do stone because I thought it would look nicer. But this looks really nice because it blends in with the natural beauty around. Blends in with the trees, and it smells good. And I'm pretty sure it keeps bugs away if it's like cedar mulch. Some certain mulches keep bugs away. So.
Yeah, and low maintenance too, keeping the weeds down, so there's nothing to really mow as well. But yeah, like you said, it looks great. You guys will have to come and stay here to check it out.
Yeah.
We had a great experience here at the fields, and that's about all we wanted to cover today.
Yeah. That wraps up the show for this week. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any requests for future episodes, please submit them via mittengetaways.com/reach out, or you can email us at Glampers. I can't speak English. Glampers@mittengetaways.com.
The Mitten Minute, our glamping journey, is produced by Woodall's Campground Magazine and sponsored by Outdoor Alliances. Check out all episodes of the Mitten Minute podcast at mittengetaways.com/minute. You can follow our journey in other ways, including our newsletter, by visiting mittengetaways.com/subscribe.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you all next week.